Betting preview edition of Pucks Across Borders on Sports Addict Live and our good friends at Total Apex Sports. Brought to you by the one, the only First Round Collectibles. Right now with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off tons and tons of cards. And with our promo code Sports Addict, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. Do the math. 20 becomes 30, 30, 40, 40, 50, 50, 60. You get the picture. Head over to firstroundcollectibles.com today. Tell them we sent you using our promo code Sports Addict for 10% off. Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, boxing. They have it all. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today and find your heroes. That's the number one. STRoundCollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And welcome to this Thursday betting preview edition of Pucks Across Borders on Total Apex Sports. Good to have you. Thank you for joining us. Brought to you by, of course, our friends at First Round Collectibles. Use promo code Sports Addict for 10% off your order at firstroundcollectibles.com. I am back. I am Mark Sauter. It's good to be back. Feels good to be back. Tried to join you yesterday, Andre, but I was on the road and some technical difficulties, and it's all good. Great job by you. And before I throw it over to you, of course, we want to know how you're doing on this beautiful Thursday. You had the day off yesterday. No Rangers games, no Yankees games. You got to breathe a little bit. Great job by you yesterday. Really impressive. I got to say, I didn't know you were like a CNN like newsroom writer. You're talking all. There was a Kraken sighting on Broadway, and what was the Stars one? The Stars like missed a shark attack or something. Very creative. I really enjoyed it.
Dallas Dances with Danger. They survived the shark attack.
Yes, that was it. Yeah, that was a great one.
I'm glad you liked it. Yesterday wasn't completely heart attack free. The Liberty, huge comeback. Sabrina Ionescu clutches up, nails a long three. They are one win away from the first title ever. I can't wait to see Ellie the Elephant dancing in that parade. So shout out to the ladies. Get it done. Breanna Stewart, UConn legend. You know she's my favorite, but got to root for the city, got to root for the team, and they're so close to a title. Not completely stress-free, but, you know, is it ever?
No, never, ever. Well, listen, man, lots to get to today. By my count, what are we at? 11 games tonight?
Yeah.
There are 11? I think so. So lots to get to tonight, but of course there was 4 games on the ice last night. Before we get into it, I just wanted to throw out something. So I wasn't on the show yesterday, wasn't able to talk about it. Tuesday night was the Columbus Blue Jackets home opener. And of course, this is something that we're going to be reminded of. And it's tragic and it's sad, and there's going to be tributes all year long across the NHL, but also celebrating life, right? You have to make the most of these situations and opportunities. And the Columbus Blue Jackets home opener, what a beautiful, beautiful tribute to Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew. First of all, the whole ceremony and the family coming out, and Sean Monahan standing beside Johnny's wife, Meredith Gaudreau. And then that we saw this with, I think they've done it in football before. The most memorable one was when Kobe Bryant passed away and they let the 24 seconds go off the shot clock, both teams. And Sean Monahan wins the face-off, pushes it over to the left wing where there was nobody there, only 4 skaters on the ice for Columbus, and they let 13 seconds click off the clock. Really, really stand-up job, both by the Columbus Blue Jackets, but the Florida Panthers too, right? Both teams have to agree to it. I can't imagine any team in the NHL not agreeing to whatever the Blue Jackets wanted to do, but whoever came up with that whole idea and that whole thing and the 4 skaters on the ice and the puck going over to that side, beautiful, beautiful moment. Once again, we're going to see tributes all year long, but there's only one opening night. And I thought the Blue Jackets did a terrific job, doing what they can to honor Johnny and his brother, Matt.
Yeah. Not much more to add to that. It was cool that Monahan got to score a point to the jersey after. There for Gaudreau. So nice little moment. Probably helps him heal. Doesn't completely cure everything, but it's life. It's tough.
Yeah. And so, 100% well said. So that was a beautiful moment. And that segues. So that's the whole kind of sad, serious thing to get to. I just wanted to kind of point that out. That segues perfectly into a lighthearted, fun thing that I discovered about your New York Rangers that I'm actually appalled at, and I want to know your thoughts. So you were talking about Sean Monahan pointing to the rafters and all that. Can you explain to me, the New York Rangers have a banner? Have you seen it? I saw this yesterday. The New York Rangers have a banner that instead of President's Trophy 23-24, it's regular season champions. That's almost as bad as the Lakers having a banner for the in-season tournament. No, like regular season champions. I don't know. How do you feel about this? You're a Rangers fan. You're going to defend your team or what? I thought that was bizarre. President's Trophy is fine. I get it. They deserve it. But regular season champions? Andre, what are we doing in New York, man?
It's actually crazy because I don't think I ever realized the 14-15 banner also said regular season champions until
does it really?
Yeah, it does. I'm at a loss. I'm assuming the 94 one does as well. I have no idea. Just put President's Trophy. You win a real championship. How about that? Like, I don't know what that is. I really don't like it. I wish it was never brought to my attention, honestly, because now I'm not going to unsee it. But it is what it is. I mean, you have a division championship banner right next to it. Just President's Trophy, please.
Yeah.
It's there for a reason. It's less shameful. It just looks, I don't know. I don't like it.
Well, I can't throw too many stones at you because I think they took it down now because it was so ridiculous. But and I can't even remember the reasoning why. I don't know if there's a Toronto Maple Leaf fan watching can tell me. But John Bon Jovi's name was in the rafters at Scotiabank Arena for a long time for some weird reason. So I can't get to. I think the Leafs just haven't had a banner in like over 25 years, so they needed to throw something up there. I don't know. Do you remember why?
That's the thing. It's probably tied to like performing a certain amount of concerts. I think.
Yeah, probably.
Billy Joel has one in the Garden, I believe. I know infamously Taylor Swift had one in Staples Center, now Crypto.com Arena, where the Kings and Lakers play. The Clippers also used to play there. And the Kings, after they unveiled it, the Kings went in like a losing streak or a long slump, I think, at home, and they started covering it because it was like cursed, and they started winning again. So our artists do get banners. Okay. That one's not that weird.
Yeah, well, in Toronto, it was one of those things where it's like, dude, we haven't won a division or a championship or nothing in so long, and the first banner to go up in 20 years is John Bon Jovi. But hey, speaking of the Leafs, let's get to last night. The Toronto Maple Leafs beat the LA Kings. Boy, are the Kings in a tough spot. 6-2 Leafs win last night. Austin Matthews gets his first, not only his first goal, but his first points of the season, finishing the game at 3 points and 4 shots. I got some things to say about that game that we'll get to. Pittsburgh Penguins beat the Buffalo Sabres 6-5. Sidney Crosby getting his 1600th point and Malkin getting his 500th goal. Boston Bruins beating the Avalanche 5-3. Avalanche again losing, still without a win to start the season. And the Utah Hockey Club ruined both of our betting nights, losing to the Anaheim Ducks 5-4. I gotta say too, I was a big fan of the Ducks going back to the old school logo, but can we get rid of this orange? Like, why do we gotta keep the orange? Go all the way back to like the old school Mighty Ducks. Like, what am I missing? That is awful. I don't know. Anyway, so we'll start with you, man. Out of those 4 games, what was your takeaway from the NHL last night? And for only having 4 games, I feel like we could take something away, probably multiple things away from every game last night.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback real quick. That orange is disgusting.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty much the full uniform.
Yeah.
it's the helmet, it's the sweater, it's the pants, it's
awful.
It's so strong. It's tough to look at. My takeaway, there's a very quiet defense and goaltending crisis happening in the NHL. And you notice I said quiet, so I'm not talking about Colorado. They're the elephant in the room right now. The Pittsburgh Penguins have played 5 games. Mark, can you tell me how many goals they've allowed in those 5 games? Do you know?
Oh, not off the top of my head. It's a lot.
No. It is a lot. It is 21.
Yeah, I was going to say, because they gave up 6 to your Rangers, 4 to my Leafs, and 5 last night. So that's a lot by itself.
They gave up 3 in their other 2 wins. Yeah, 3+ goals in every single game, giving up more than 4 goals per game. They've given up 11 goals in 2 home games. They're winning. Or they have 3 wins because they've scored 6 goals 3 times. The 2 times they played teams that are playing well defensively, that are tough, that are genuine, bona fide, they're going to make it playoff teams. The offense sputtered. They got blown out. It wasn't really competitive. Pittsburgh, it's not going to get as much attention as the Stars in Denver, but Pittsburgh can't really stop anybody right now. And for a team that's aging, for a team that desperately needs to make the playoffs, for a team that swears Tristan Jarry is goalie number 1, it's not really looking like it. And if you're going to have one last ride with the boys, you're going to need a little bit better defensively. You're going to need a little bit better between the pipes. So they have Carolina coming up tomorrow. That's going to be a massive test. It's at home again, where they're giving up 5.5 goals per game. And then they head to Canada for a multi-game, very long road trip. So look out for the Pittsburgh Penguins, particularly the other teams over goals. It's as far as team props. They're just not stopping anybody right now. And it's going under the radar because they're winning, but they're not going to score 6 goals a game forever.
No, and I mean, let's just call it what it is. We're only a week and a half into the season, but it's the same old Buffalo Sabres, right? Like, they're playing Buffalo, who we know that Buffalo does have scoring power, but I mean, you won the game. You give up 5 goals to 50% of the rest of the league. You're not winning that game 6-5 in overtime. That's just not happening. For me, like, obviously, as a Leaf guy, Leaf fan, Leaf writer, I could talk about that Leaf win all day. And it's actually not even the Leafs. Like, I could talk about the Leafs and the Leafs perspective, and I think is a lot to take away from the Leaf side of it. But for me, I got 2 teams that I'm looking at And like you said, the Avalanche, that's the elephant in the room. You're talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins allowing. I could be off on this by like a goal or two, but I'm pretty sure after last night, one of the goals last night was the empty netter. But the Colorado Avalanche have allowed 25 goals. I'm pretty sure exactly 25 goals. And I watched all of that game last night, and there was some offensive spurts here and there. They were losing 4-1, made it 4-3. Good for them. But they do not look good right now, the Avalanche. They just don't. And the season's early. I get it. But their lack of depth, and we even talked about this a lot last year, but their lack of depth is getting exposed like in a big way. And I believe Devin Taves is out of the lineup on the defensive side. And you take away, I mean, Landeskog, he hasn't played in a couple of years. Obviously, you have him back and at full health. That's huge, but he hasn't been there for a while. But Nichushkin, he's out. Don't know when we're getting him back. Lehkonen is also out. And their lack of depth is just glaring. Like it's a really big deal. And on top of it, it's the Georgie show again, man. It's not looking great right now. And he had his moments in the playoffs last year. But that scene in Colorado is really tough. And then you go to the Kings. And throughout the season so far, they lose to Boston 2-1 in overtime. What was their other loss? My brain is blanking. I know that they lost that whole like 8-7 debacle to Ottawa, but
Boston 2-1 in OT.
It was Boston 2-1. And then they
beat Montreal.
Beat Buffalo like 3-1, right?
Yeah, they beat Buffalo. That's what it was. Not Montreal.
So those two games, like low scoring. It's obvious. We talked about this a lot last year. We talked about it coming into the season this year. They're known for their defensive ability. And I know Drew Doughty is not in the lineup right now and won't be until probably at least like January is what it looks like. But they went away from the whole like 1-3-1 defensive scheme that they've had for years. They went away from that with the new coaching staff, and it is obvious. Like there were moments in that game last night where the forwards were lost in the defensive zone. I know it takes time for a new coaching staff to develop the schemes and for the players to buy in and for all that stuff. We're seeing it in Toronto too. But the Kings don't have the luxury to wait around for their schemes to come together. Like, I don't know what they're going to do if they want to go back to the 1-3-1 or whatever they're going to do. When, no disrespect, we've seen Big Save Dave Riddick, have some good moments or whatever. But when he's your number one goalie, you have Copley as the backup. Kemper, don't know what's going on with Kemper. He's not available. He wasn't available last night. I don't believe he's available tonight either. That situation in LA, I don't know, man. I didn't pick them to make it to the playoffs anyway. But you have a decent start to the season. Now 2 games in Ontario. You've allowed, 8, 6, 14 goals in the last 6 periods. That's, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I'm more worried about the Kings than I am Colorado, just because of the sheer fact that Colorado has 2 of the best players in the world. And no disrespect to Kopitar and Kempe, but the Kings don't have that. I don't know. It looks bad over there right now.
No, I think he hit the nail on the head. LA, the identity we thought they have had. Obviously, they're trying to change things. I think they're shifting away from 1-3-1 to generate more offense. The problem being they're not as stout defensively, and they're not generating offense now. So they got a lot of work to do. Just real quick before, I know we have a lot of games, but there's a few teams already where you think they probably need some goaltending help. We know the Islanders have two goalies, and one of them isn't quite as much in the coach's favor. Kind of young, kind of has some potential that people think isn't fully unlocked yet, fully realized. Do you think Sorokin could be on the move anywhere? Just a curiosity question.
Oh man, I don't know. I think there's a couple things that I think. Number one, the Islanders still believe in their season, like they have playoff hopes. I don't have playoff hopes for them, but they do have playoff hopes. They're also paying him a ton of money, man. Like we're only seeing the best of the best get paid like that. And for Sorokin to be making what, 8.5, something around there, I don't know how many people are going to be able to buy that ticket. And for LA, that's what Darcy Kemper was for, right? I don't know. What do you think?
It's Kemper working. I don't know. It was just throwing it out. I mean, he's getting paid like a goalie one. He's not being played like a goalie one. So maybe the situation will be beneficial for both sides. That's why I was just curious about it. I was thinking about, potential goalies that could be traded yesterday, and he crossed my mind a little bit later. I want to get your thoughts on it, just kind of probe.
Yeah. I do think that, like, Patrick Waugh loves Varlamov, but I do think that, like, Lou Lamoriello and the management, they believe that Sorokin is their guy. I don't know. That could be something we could see a couple months down the road. But it's that price tag of $8 million. I haven't seen what the cap situation is for the Kings, but I don't know. I'm wow, my son just woke up with a vengeance.
Varlamov. Is that what
Dude, yeah, he loves Varlamov, man. That's his guy, apparently. No, it's an interesting question. I feel like just based on the Kings, I don't know. What's interesting too, man, is like they let Kemper in the net for all 8 goals of that game the other day, and all of a sudden he's just like, can't go. Like, I wonder if his ego was hurt a little bit there, but yeah, so as far as the Kings go, the other thing about the Kings and taking Sorokin is they just got out of a contract with Pierre-Luc Dubois that nobody thought that they could get out of, right? Like, do they want to go right back to prison with an 8-year, $8 million goaltender? I don't know, but it's an interesting thought to say the least. All right, lots of games to get into tonight, so let's dive right into it. Starting with the yeah, why not? Let's just start right back in LA. They continue their road trip in Montreal really, really quickly. So we've talked about, at least I have, about the Philadelphia road trip and how cruel that is that they're starting their season on a West game road trip. Well, for LA, it's the opposite. I don't know the details with the whole Philadelphia thing, but do you know why the Kings are on this road trip? Do you know why?
If I had to guess, they're probably doing some type of renovations to the crypt, or just like a string of concerts or something. I'm not really sure. I feel like they had something similar a few years ago. But I couldn't tell you the exact reason.
So you were right with your first answer. They had renovations at Crypto, but then they canceled the renovations. So they're just like on this road trip now for like 2.5 weeks to start their season. I don't think they start at home until next Thursday. I don't think they're home until next week. So yeah, that's what I heard yesterday. You guys can fact check me out there, but I heard yesterday that they had all these planned renovations and then they were like, "Oh yeah, we're not going to do those." and the Kings are like stuck in Toronto, like, "Oh great, thanks. Appreciate it leaving us out here." So I thought that was funny, but the LA Kings in Montreal, Los Angeles Kings minus 130 when I typed this. It is now minus 138. Montreal was plus 108. They are now plus 115. Minus 1.5 for the Kings is plus 188. Plus 1.5 for the Canadians is minus 225. The over is 5.5 at minus 132. And the under is plus 108. What do you have for this game? And what am I missing? Why are the Kings minus 138? What am I missing here?
The Kings have won 6 straight against the Canadians. All 6 matchups in the 2020s. That's the only thing I got for you. Second half of a back-to-back. They've allowed 14 goals in their 2 Canadian games. Their 2 games in Ontario, if you will. They've lost 3 straight. I know 2 of them went to OT. But when you're talking about betting, it's a loss all the same. This Canadians team, they're 2-1-0 at home. They scored 7 goals their last 2 games, both at home. They scored 4 in the one before that, so that's 11 goals in the last 3 games. They've played some tougher teams, talking about Toronto and Boston, and held their own. And we talk about them all the time. They're feisty. They don't give up. They fight. I think against the Kings team like this, that's the worst thing that can happen because the Kings team can't seem to pull away from anybody, can't seem to create distance. So I have a feeling this one's going to go to OT either way, and I have a feeling Montreal is going to come out on top in Bell Center. So I'm going to take the Canadians plus 108, whatever they end up being when the show's said and done. They're plus 114 right now in DK. I don't see a reason why they can't win this game, whether it's low scoring or high scoring. I feel like Montreal has better finish and fight than LA.
Yeah, dude, I'm right there with you. Not only did the Kings play last night, but right now, dailyfaceoff.com has David Riddick scheduled to be back in the net. Now, he only played half the game yesterday, so he was pulled after the 4th goal, I believe. So, and they don't want Phoenix Copley to be in the net for them, I guess. I don't know. I'm there. So I know he only played half the game, but he's starting back to back, apparently, according again to dailyfaceoff.com. And Sam Montembeault, who's had a really good start to the season, he is in net for Montreal. I understand if this was like November 2023, but it's October 2024, and I don't know why the Kings are favored this heavily. I am taking Montreal plus 115 all day long. Overtime, I'm not. I definitely see where you're going. I just think, I don't know, man. Like, I think Montreal can get up, 2-0, 3-0 in the first 20 minutes. The Kings, based on last night, they look kind of lost out there, and they have to go right back to Montreal to play the next night. For that reason, and listen, again, 8-7 against Ottawa on Monday, 6-2 against Toronto last night, 3 games in 4 nights. You're already giving up a bunch of goals. The over is 5.5. Like, is that just hedging again? Like, maybe it's just 2 wild games. I don't know, man. To me, this is over all day long. I know the over 5.5 is minus 132. Now I'm using FanDuel, you're using DK, so maybe it's different over there. But to me, over 5.5 minus 132, I'm all over it. And Montreal plus 115, I'm all over that too. Cole Caulfield has been scoring a bunch to start the season. He is plus 170 to score a goal tonight. Also, Fiala, he's plus 190. He scored last night. I like him to keep it going for the Kings. All right, moving on. We're talking about the Kings losing 8-7 to Ottawa. We're going to go to Ottawa now. The New Jersey Devils in Ottawa, minus 128 are the Devils in Ottawa, who are plus 106. Once again, these odds changing drastically as the show goes on. It is now minus 142 for the Devils and plus 118 for the Senators. Minus 1.5 is plus 164 for the Devils. Plus 1.5 is minus 200 for the Senators. Over is 6.5 at minus 110. Under is also minus 110. What do you have, Devils, Ottawa?
I kind of just want to pick your brain for this one. I'm curious what you think or what you're taking away from this Senators team so far. 2 home wins, the 8-7 circus, we'll say, against the Kings. On Monday, they opened their season with a 3-1 win over the Panthers. Sandwiched between that, a 1-4 loss in Montreal. There's some good, there's some bad, there's some ugly. And it's been 3 games, so I really have no idea what the Senators are right now. As for the Devils, they've been pretty much as expected. They're beating the teams they're supposed to beat. They're kind of competing with the, established teams, falling short. Talking about the Leafs and the Canes, at least for now. They're handling business. They look the part. They look better defensively and in net. For the most part, the offense is still there. I like them in this game. I really, maybe Ottawa proves me wrong again, but I just don't know what to do with them. I'm going to take the double 60-minute line here and just pray for the best. Pray that the Senators just do something normal.
Yeah, it's a very small sample size, which if you have a drinking problem or you like to party, that's a great drinking game. And all the podcasts and radio shows that you listen to, how many times in the first month of the season are you going to hear small sample size? That you could tie one on pretty quickly with that one. But it is a small sample size. Season just started. But when Linus Ullmark, they brought him because the defense, not terrific. They have good players back there. They just don't always play great defensively. Linus Ullmark goes down. He's not playing tonight. Didn't play Monday. All of a sudden, they allow 7 goals. To me, Linus Ullmark is the biggest reason for them to play with any confidence. This team for years and years now have had really good players with subpar defense, not defensemen, but defensive play and brutal goaltending. And without Linus Ullmark, they're going back to Anton Forsberg tonight. And no disrespect against this New Jersey Devils team, I just don't see how they're going to be stopping pucks tonight. I don't really... The minus 142, I don't love. The minus 1.5, I like it, but Ottawa can score. Jacob Markstrom, very good goaltender. He'll give you saves when he needs to, but he does have these games where he lets in 3-4 goals. I like the over 6.5 at minus 110. And I'm just going to quickly pull this up. I do really like New Jersey Devils total goals over 3.5 for New Jersey to score. Over 3.5 goals is minus 102, which I think is terrific odds. Let's say Ottawa has a great game and they win this game 5-4. That bet is still covering. I like the New Jersey Devils. Over 3.5 goals is my favorite bet in this game at minus 102. All right. Moving on to Dallas and Washington. Dallas was minus 152. I gotta just type all these things in as we go live because these odds are all changing very, very quickly. Minus 152, they are now minus 160. Washington was plus 126, they are now plus 132. Minus 1.5 for Dallas is plus 162, plus 1.5 for Washington, minus 196. The over is 5.5 at minus 120, and the under is minus 102. Andre, what do you got? Dallas, Washington.
I'm surprised the odds are this close, and I guess it's just because it's in DC. But I mean, let's be real here. The Stars are a much better team than Washington, right? I know Washington just came off a win. Kudos to them. It was a pretty good game for them, actually. That I got. I didn't get to tell you this on Tuesday, but I went out with the girl, and Yankees on one TV. They had Caps Knights on the other, and then they had Wild Blues on the other. It was heaven. Just four amazing things surrounding me while I was out. Incredible time. I had to throw that in there. I had to brag.
That's so cute. That's so cute. You're adorable.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Humble brag a little bit right there. But this Washington team, they're mediocre. They exist. They'll win if you give them an opportunity to. Otherwise, they're going to lose if you play well. Stars still undefeated. It seems like them and the Jets are going to be battling all season long for the top spot again, based on the early results. They have 2 shutout wins under their belt already. They can easily neutralize this Washington offense, and I don't think you're going to bank on holding the Stars to fewer than 2 or 3 goals. So I'm going to take Dallas minus 1.5 here. I expect a comfortable win for them, especially after that scare San Jose gave them the other day.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, man, with Dallas, you're talking about what we've seen out of the Oilers so far this year, what we've seen out of Colorado so far this year. Dallas has been the complete opposite. Vancouver is another one. They haven't won yet. So Dallas is the complete opposite. They come into the season 2 wins away from the Stanley Cup Finals last year, high expectations, losing quite a bit in the offseason and starting out with a bang. They are 4-0 to start the season, right? Terrific start for them. So my thing with Washington, man, and I was saying this during the summer, during the previews, I do think Washington is a better team than they were last year. Not that they're some great team, but I actually like this Washington team. Charlie Lindgren, again, according to dailyfaceoff.com, Charlie Lindgren is confirmed to be starting between the pipes tonight. He's had an okay start, still rounding into his MVP form. But I actually kind of like Washington in this one, man. I think they beat a Vegas team who had a terrific first couple games to start the season. I think that's a very good win. Dallas, they got to lose eventually. I think they're 4-0. They're on this road trip. They're in Washington tonight. I actually kind of like Washington to win this game tonight. I just think they played really well the other night. Charlie Lindgren in net, if he can have. Now, I will say this. You're taking the minus 1.5 for Dallas. Did you take the over too?
No, Mama. I haven't taken the total yet. I'm not convinced that Washington's going to score more than 2 goals here. So I'm kind of hesitant on it. I would lean under for that alone, but I can see a path very easily where it's over. So,
well, that's kind of where I'm thinking on the underside of it with you is if Washington wins, I think it's under. Like, they're not going to outscore Dallas. If Dallas is scoring 3-4, 5 goals, Washington's not going to win that game. But if Washington wins tonight at plus 132, I like the under 5.5 at minus 102. Even now that I just think about it, to pull it up really quickly, The under. Okay, under 6.5 is minus 166, so I don't love that as much. But if Washington wins tonight, I like the under because, it's Washington. How many goal scorers do they really have? That's kind of where I'm leaning. But I just think Dallas has to lose eventually, and I think Washington played really well the other night. I think they ride that momentum into tonight. All right, moving on. Buffalo Sabres in Columbus. Buffalo minus 134. Columbus plus 112. Those odds have shifted a lot as well. Buffalo is now minus 154, and Columbus is now plus 128. Minus 1.5 for Buffalo, plus 160. Plus 1.5 for the Blue Jackets, minus 194. The over is 6.5 at minus 108, and the under is minus 114. What do you have, Buffalo and Columbus?
Two teams that you can never trust. This is one of those games already. Yeah. I will say that my guy, Ukko Pekka Luukkonen, wow, I butchered that time. He started last night, so that means he's probably not going tonight. And I think for that reason alone, I'm going to take Columbus to win this game. The Blue Jackets, give them credit. They've put up some fights early on. 3-2 loss in their opener against the Wild, 6-4 win in Denver to follow it up. Home opener, 3-4 loss against the defending champs. They've done pretty well. I'm going to take the over here. Columbus is finding the back of the net early on, 11 goals in 3 games. They've given up at least 3 in each game as well. Buffalo, I mean, we just saw them score 5. They're obviously clicking. They're going to have their backup goalie in, so that's not going to help them stop pucks, though. I'm rolling with the Jackets in a high-scoring game.
I'm right there with you. First of all, shout out to Nick on the chat. Good to have you on, bro. Philadelphia Flyers fan. Hang on. We got a million games, and they're at the end of the list. So we'll be getting to your boys. But I think I'm there with you when it comes to Columbus, bro. I don't want to be like. I watch all these games every single night, and it kind of goes both ways. Like on back-to-back nights like this, you see a game team win 5-0 one night, and they lose 2-1 the next night, and you see a team lose 6-5 in a barn burner. You would think, and not only did they lose 6-5 last night, we skipped past this part. They were winning that game 3-0. Like they were in the first period. Like they came out 3-0. They won that. They were winning that game last night. So not only did they lose, but they were winning by a substantial margin. So to me, it kind of, you would expect them to get up for this game tonight. You're right. Levi is projected to start tonight according to Daily Faceoff. So I think I'm with you though, man. Columbus plus 128. And also, dude, like, let's just give Columbus some credit here. We were both kind of dumping on them to start the season, and rightfully so. They have had a pretty good start to the season so far this year. They're 1-2, but they beat Colorado over the weekend, and they lost to the Panthers 4-3 the other night. It's not like they got like blown out by any means. So Columbus has played pretty well to start the season. And I'm taking them plus 128. With that, Sean Monahan, a good start to his season. For him to score tonight is plus 210. For him to score tonight. I like that. JJ Peterka, he got a goal last night. He's had a good start after his injury scare over in Prague. He is plus 195 to score tonight. And Tage Thompson, always got to sprinkle a little on Tage Thompson. He is plus 145. I do feel like this game, I know it's a little high, but at minus 108, I think this game screams over. No, this feels like a 6-4, 5-3 game all day long. So I'll take the over 6.5 at minus 108, and I'll take Columbus at plus 128 as well. All right, moving down to Florida as the Panthers host the Vancouver Canucks, minus 110 on both sides. At least it was. I should probably check that based on how this has been going. Yeah, minus 110 on both sides. The plus 1.5 for Vancouver is minus 295. Minus 1.5 for the Panthers is plus 235. The over is 5.5 at minus 118, and the under is minus 104. Andre, what am I missing? Florida minus 110. Okay, fine, I suppose. Vancouver, goaltending's been a nightmare so far for them this year. What am I missing? They're in Florida. It's minus 110, and the puck line's plus 235. Like, Pettersson has been in full playoff form. He's been invisible. What am I missing?
Vancouver swept the Panthers last year, 2 multi-goal wins. That's the best I got for you.
Right.
But this isn't 2023 anymore. And both of those games were in 2023. This is 2024. We're only 2 months away from 2025. And the Vancouver Canucks not only don't have a win, they hit the road for the first time against the Lightning 2 days ago, and they did not compete at all. 1 goal, 4 goals allowed. The PK was perfect. I guess they get credit for that, right? They were
sure
5 for 5. So I guess they get some a little bit. They still lost 4-1 to the Lightning. The Panthers are a better team than the Lightning. The Panthers have won consecutive games, and they're back home for the first time since the season opener when they beat Boston 6-4. They're gonna score at least 4 goals. Talking about Florida. And the way Vancouver's going right now, particularly, that power play has been kind of inconsistent to start the year. It's small sample size, whatever. The offense in general has also been kind of inconsistent to start the year. It's not really looking good for them. Not only do I think the Panthers are going to win, I think I would take that puck line and feel comfortable about it. That plus 220. I don't get this line at all, but hey, it's helping us, right? Why complain about it?
Oh yeah, man. And if the books are gonna set a trap like this, I'll fall into it. We'll see what happens. This is the thing. So Lankinen is getting the start in net tonight, projected to get the start tonight, according to Daily Faceoff. He's in net for the Vancouver Canucks. From all the I don't know based on my own knowledge, but all the goalie insiders that I listen to and that I read, they all have high praises for this kid. Apparently he's got a lot of good things going for him. He has a bright future ahead of him. That's fine. He played all right. He actually played pretty good in his opening game this season. Lost in overtime, 185 goals against, 935 save percentage in that game. But to me, this Vancouver team just this has been tough. And I just think you start the season going up 4-1 against the Calgary Flames, blowing that game, and you haven't really looked that great ever since. They've only played 3 games, but they're averaging 4.5 goals per game. Now that has been Shilov's in all those situations. Update for all you people who I know don't care. I dropped him off my fantasy team. I've had enough. You want to be on Sauter's team? Yeah, dude. You want to be on my team? You got results. It's all about results. Mr. Aiden Hill, he is up next because he's been giving me a tough time as well. And so you want to be on my team, dude. You got to produce results. I don't have patience. I'm like Vegas, bro. Like you win 2 cups you win a cup with me. I don't care. I'll dump you to the curb if you don't produce. That's how it is. But I'm right there with you, bro. I think this puck line is way, way too, way too long odds for what we've seen from both these two teams to start the season. On that note, Sam Reinhart, 4 goals to start the year. Was last year a fluke? Well, so far, no. Sam Reinhart's plus 130 to score tonight. Another guy that I'm kind of looking at, Carter Verhaeghe, signed that big deal in the summer. Still getting his legs under him. He's plus 160 to score tonight. So I like those two guys for Florida to score. Sam Reinhart obviously being the one that I like the most. But minus 1.5 plus 235. And for these odds to be even, there has to be something that I'm missing that I haven't seen yet. There's an injury or something, because for Florida to not be favored at home against the Canucks, like, I just don't understand it. So there has to be something that I'm not paying attention to. I don't know.
The books have been kind of weird about that Kachuk illness. Like, I feel
I
get for that too. Because remember the Bruins game, we were like, okay, he's not playing. They're still better than the Bruins, right? Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. He's still not playing. That's true. I forgot about that, but yeah, still, dude, I don't really understand it. But all right, talking about Vegas, moving on to Vegas. They are in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, one of the more not controversial, but they're just one of those teams in the offseason where you either were in on them or you were out on them, right? Lots of people kind of writing them off. They've had a really good start to the season. They're minus 137 at home. Vasilevsky looks like he's rested. He looks rejuvenated. Obviously, last year, he didn't start the first couple months due to surgery. Didn't really get his legs under him throughout the whole season. He had a healthy summer, full training camp. He's off to a great start. Tampa Bay minus 137 at home to Vegas, who are plus 114, minus 1.5 for the Lightning's plus 180, plus 1.5 for the Golden Knights minus 220, over 6.5 at plus 112. And the under is minus 138. These odds did just shift a little bit. Tampa Bay is minus 140. And Vegas is now plus 112, and now it just shifted again. Tampa Bay is minus 134, and Vegas is plus 112. So take your pick, whatever you want. What do you got on this game, Andre?
Yeah, we were pretty high on Tampa coming into this season. I think they're showing us it was for good reason. They have the top end talent. They can compete with anybody, and especially at home, they've always been a much better team at home.
Yeah.
And I mean, even last year when they struggled, when they went to Amalie, you knew it was going to be a fight. I like them in this game, especially Vegas has had a really good start to the season. Vegas is going to have a good year. Their first road game in DC, kind of worrisome how that played out. I'm kind of hesitant to back them here again against a tougher team still on the road. So I'm going to roll with Tampa here. I think I'm going to take the 60-minute line, try to squeeze that extra bit of juice out of this game. But Kucherov is clicking. Vasilevsky's clicking. Tampa looks fresh, rejuvenated. They haven't played too many games on top of each other. There's a lot of things working in their favor right now. They've barely had to travel. Their first game was in Riley. They came back home, or they had the game postponed, and they came back home. They're great. They're in great shape right now. So I'm taking Tampa to win this game. I expect it to be a little bit higher scoring. I don't think they're just going to keep winning every game 4-1. Maybe this one's, like 4-2, 5-2, 4-3. But I like Tampa in this game.
Yeah, I think I do too. My first thought is I actually do like Vegas. I thought they've played well. That game against Washington, those games happen. I've liked what I've seen from Vegas so far this year, but the more I think about it, listen, Aiden Hill has been okay. He's had some tough night. Even that massive win against Colorado to start the season, they won 8-4? Like, it wasn't like he, shut the door. Like, I just like what I've seen from Vasilevsky so far this season, man. He's played both games. He's 2-0 to start the year. A 1 goals against average, just a straight up 1 right on the money. 958 save percentage. I know it's only 2 games, but he's looked really good to start this year. And so when I really dive into it, it's a coin flip for me. I like Vegas, but just based on the goaltending and how that's gone, Vasilevsky's just looked really, really good. And I'm gonna lean Tampa Bay for that reason. My favorite bet for this game, though, Mark Stone has 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points to start the year. That's in 4 games. Like I said, 8 points, 6 of those being assists. For him to get an assist tonight is plus 126. Which I really, really like. For him to get a point is minus 150, and for him to get 2 points is plus 320. So if you want to get a little risky on it, plus 320 to get 2 points, plus 126 to get a helper for Mark Stone. That's my favorite bet of the night. I think you can bet the Tampa Bay money line, and I would agree with it. I'll probably take it as well. But this game really is super even right down the middle. Just the goaltending that makes me lean Tampa Bay. But for Mark Stone to get a helper plus 126, I think those are terrific odds. And I'll be all over that tonight. All right, moving on now to your guys. I know that your New York Liberty played last night, like you said, so not a complete off night. Well, you're right back in full throttle tonight. The Yankees and the Rangers overlapping. Rangers minus 150, now minus 154 against the Detroit Red Wings. Detroit was plus 125. They're now plus 128. Minus 1.5 for the Rangers, plus 162. Plus 1.5 for the Red Wings, minus 196. The over is 6.5 at minus 104. The under is minus 118. What do you got, Rangers, Red Wings?
I wonder if the Rangers and the Yankees, they split a flight. They shared a flight to Toledo, and then they lost their separate ways. Rangers went up to Detroit, Yankees went east to Cleveland. That would have been kind of nice bonding experiment. In all seriousness, though, I expect this game, unlike last game, to finish over the total series. I guess not series, but this home and home is now in Detroit. That should help the Red Wings score a little bit more. The offense has been kind of lifeless in these early stages, uncharacteristically so. We expected more from them. I think that starts tonight. And then when you're talking about the Rangers, I mean, they've scored 15 goals already. I know their only road games so far, they did, I can't say pitch a shutout, but, they shut out the Penguins. I don't think that's going to happen again. We saw Utah got them for 6, so they are vulnerable. The turnovers have been an issue. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I like that over 6.5, minus 108. It's a little bit slightly better odds for the over, just that tiny bit extra juice past that minus 110. But goal, you can pencil the Rangers in for 4. You can probably pencil the Red Wings in for 3. They're not going to be held to 1 again, you would think, especially at home. So I like that. Playing each other again is always tough. It's sweeping a home and home, never easy in the NHL. Red Wings are a good team. I'm going to back my boys in blue, though. You knew that was coming. So
sure.
Not taking the puck line again. I think I took the puck line last time. I'll just stick with the 60-minute line and let it rock.
Yeah, I know that game against Utah was bizarre, but the Rangers still scored 5 goals. They didn't get, rolled on. They were still really productive. I'm kind of zagging a little bit here, and I'm taking Detroit, and this is why. It's plus 128 for a reason. Okay. I do think that the Rangers are a good play here. I'm not disputing that at all. I just think the Rangers, again, I know Saturday was crazy, but they scored a bunch of goals. Like Shesterkin had a bad night. It is what it is. I just think the Rangers have played really well. I think they have had like a really good start to their season, and I think Detroit hasn't. And I think at some point something's got to give here. I just think Detroit, they got to bounce back and they got to get a win here tonight. I know that it's early. I know that small sample size, take a shot. I just feel like Detroit, they're one of these teams that just doesn't have the time. They don't have the time to mess around. Like, they don't have the luxury of being a like Edmonton or a Colorado that has the best players in the world on their teams. Like, Detroit has to get these points while they can. And they're at home tonight. I think they bounce back. I think they get the win tonight. Like I said, I'm not trying to talk anybody out of the Rangers. That's a good pick any day of the week. But I just think the Red Wings, they gotta snap out of it. I know they're only 1-2, season's young, but they don't have the time to mess around. They eventually. The thing that just concerns me every single night, and why I'm on this over with you, over 6.5. What concerns me every single night for the Red Wings is just this goaltending situation. I just don't trust it. Kim Talbot, great start to the season. He's 1-0, 1.27 goals against, 964 save percentage. At least that's what I got here on NHL.com. But I still worry about the goaltending. I don't love it. I'll take that over, but I'm going to roll with the underdog here in Detroit at plus 128. It was plus, I got to double check these a million times now. Yeah, still plus 128.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, the New York Islanders, another line that I don't understand. Maybe I'm just an idiot. Maybe that's what we're finding out this morning. The New York Islanders minus 134. They're now minus 140. St. Louis Blues plus 112. They are now plus 116. The over is 5.5 at minus 130. The under is plus 106, minus 1.5 for the Islanders, plus 184, plus 1.5 for the Blues, minus 225. I know that you hate the Blues. We all know this. It's your least favorite city in America. What? Still, though, what am I missing? Like, why are the Islanders minus 140 favorites in St. Louis? I don't care how bad people might think St. Louis is. This should not be. This should not be, Andre. What am I missing? Again.
As much as this is going to just play into my confirmation bias for the rest of the season, I actually agree with you here. I don't see why the Blues are underdogs, let alone by that much. So as much as I hate arches and that portion of the Mississippi River, I think I'm going to take the Blues here. I really don't get it. They've played pretty well. Obviously, the Wild kind of punked them in their home opener the other night. But before that, 2 wins and then 1 goal loss to Vegas. You can live with that. That's doing what you're supposed to do, really. 4 points that you're supposed to pick up. Almost stole a point in the gambling city, in Sin City, if you will. I don't get this one. I really don't. The Islanders are the definition of mediocrity, in my opinion. I know they just came off a huge win in Denver. That's 6-2, but that's a mirage, and I think that's more on what the Avs aren't doing to stop pucks than what the Islanders are doing well. Game before that, they got shut out. Game before that, they gave up 5 goals. I think I'm going to roll with the Blues here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. Now, Sorokin is getting the start in net tonight. He has, or is he? Yeah, according to Daily Faceoff, he is. He has 1 win so far this season in his only game, 2 goals against, and a 941 save percentage. Biddington's getting in net tonight. He's had a okay start to the season. He's 1-2, 302 goals against and an 895 save percentage. Not what you want to see from him. Long term, he has to play better for this team to have a chance at making the playoffs. But Yeah, dude. I don't really. I don't. Yeah. If you're giving me the Islanders opponents, whoever it is, plus money at home, I'll probably lean opponent until I see what I need to see from the Islanders. I'm taking the Blues here as well. They are plus, what did I say? Plus 116. I'm kind of leaning over. Like, this Islanders team, they can score goals. Over 5.5 minus 130. It's a little bit juicy, but that over 5.5 is few enough goals for me to get behind this. Binnington, like I said, has had an okay start to the season, and Sorokin's only played one game, and I don't really trust him. So I like that over 5.5 a lot, like a lot. And I'll take St. Louis here at plus 116. All right, 3 games left to get to, and then we will wrap it up with our best bets to start off the trifecta to finish it out. The Edmonton Oilers minus 115. I can't even say what I write down anymore. I might as well just read off my screen here. Edmonton Oilers minus 130. Nashville Predators are now plus 108, minus 1.5 for the Oilers, plus 188. Plus 1.5 for Nashville is minus 230. The over is 6.5 at minus 106. The under is 6.5 at minus 114. I am working on a piece right now for Total Apex that is talking about the most negative surprises to start the season. And spoiler alert, that's a tough back-to-back words, eh? Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Both these teams are on it. I think Edmonton got the win the other night against Philadelphia, but it took a couple fights to kind of get the boys kind of waking up and to get the crowd energized. The Oilers straight up have not looked good. Yes, like I said, they beat Philly, but the big boys for the Oilers, it's not even like the Oilers big boys have been carrying them and the rest of the team isn't, following suit. McDavid, Hyman, Draisaitl, all of them, Skinner especially, haven't looked great. And Nashville, they won the offseason, just like your boys were the regular season champions. They got the banner high, the regular season champions. The Predators have a banner in Bridgestone Arena for the off-season champions. But so far, both these teams have been disappointing. What do you got, Edmonton, Nashville?
Yeah, both these teams have been disappointing, and I think the disappointment for both teams has primarily been with the goaltending / defensive portions of the game. Edmonton's PK has been dreadful. The last 2 games, I guess they're 2 for 10. That's better. The first 2, though, they allowed goals in 5 of their 6 chances. So that's been brutal for them. Nashville, their PK has been fine, and they've still allowed 14 goals in 3 games. So, yeah, taking the over for sure.
Yes.
One of the best bets on the slate, I think. As far as picking a side, I think Nashville has to get a win at some point, right? They're still at home. They've only had to travel once, and it was to Detroit, not really that far for them. They have 2 more home games. Like, they have to get something going before they head to the road, before they take on, I think their first road game is Chicago on the 25th. They have to get something. Tonight, the Oilers are, I'm still not believing that they're fully playing Oilers hockey yet. They did escape against Philly, but wasn't the greatest. They're on the road for the first time as well. That's going to be interesting for them. I'm taking the Predators money line, and I'm not sure if it's because I believe in them or I just believe, or if I'm not sure if it's because they're overdue, and I'm just trying to will them into the standings, like positive. Get some points. You're at 0.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right. Before I explain what I'm feeling in this game, I need you to do me a favor. Remind me that I have some breaking news on the goaltender front for 2 games that we already talked about. If I start going into the next game, cut me off and remind me to get to this breaking news that we have in 2 games that we already talked about that I think might change what you think about these games. And they might change what our listeners think. And of course, if our viewers are watching this later in the day and not live, then they'll already know anyway. But regardless, Nashville, Edmonton, I feel the same way as you do, bro. I think, both goalies have not looked good. I overall, long term, I love S.O.S, and I think S.O.S is a much better goaltender than Stuart Skinner is. But both of these goaltenders have had a really tough start. Skinner is 1-2, 442 GAA, 845 save percentage, while S.O.S 0-2, 419 goals against, 855 save percentage. Not that much better. So the goaltending already I am worried about. Now, one of these 2 goalies has to bounce back here at some point, and you would think it would be S.O.S. I like Nashville to win this game tonight. Like I said on the screen, it is minus 104, but they are plus 106 on FanDuel. I like Nashville to bounce back tonight. I think Nashville, they've had spurts, right? Like they haven't looked great, but they had a great comeback against the Dallas Stars the other night. They've had their moments, not quite there. While Edmonton, yes, again, they beat the Flyers the other night at home, but they've looked not good. Like not even like average. Like they've not looked good, and they really haven't been in any of these games aside from the Flyers loss the other night. Not only have they not been in any of these games now, the Winnipeg Jets always get disrespected. They're a good team, but still, to lose 6-0 is unacceptable in your home opener. Then you lose to Calgary, then you lose to Chicago, then you barely beat the the Philadelphia Flyers. I like Nashville as well, and quite honestly, I'm going to go as far as Nashville. That's right, Andre. Nashville minus 1.5.
Okay.
Plus 240. Would it surprise you? Even like we both like the over, but would it surprise you if Nashville won this game 3-1 or won this game 4-2?
Not really.
No. So I'm gonna go that far, man. I'm taking Nashville on the minus 1.5 puck line here at plus 240. I like it. All right. I don't need you to remind me because I remembered is a little bit of breaking news just with regards, not breaking news, but updates, I guess, with regards to a couple games that we already spoke about. The first one being Dallas Stars in Washington. Ottinger is no longer listed as likely to start. Casey DeSmith is being projected to start in net for the Dallas Stars based on lines in practice. So if Casey DeSmith, very quickly, Andre, we got 2 games left to get to, but if Casey DeSmith is in net for Dallas, does that change your opinion on the game against Washington? I can't hear you, my dude.
Yeah. Well, I hit that by accident. Yeah, it makes me think it's going to be a 5-3 win now, so I'll switch to the
So Washington will score a few more, but and then the other one is, where are we here? Not that big of a deal. it kind of helps my case a little bit, but Jonathan Quick is now being listed as being projected to start for the Rangers. Again, I'm assuming based on lines in practice. And again, this is all according to dailyfaceoff.com, who does a great job when it comes to starting goalie projections and all that stuff. If you want to pay us Daily Faceoff, I'll read your lists every day. I can be bought. We can be bought. Hey, Andre, we're not beneath being bought.
Oh, absolutely not.
No. So that's it. Jonathan Quick projected to start, and Casey DeSmith, and now Joel Hofer is being listed to start for the Blues instead of Binnington. So that may change a couple of things for me. I don't know. Whatever. St. Louis all the way. We'll ride it.
I'll say the Quick news doesn't change anything for me.
No.
Honestly. No. And I'm not surprised he's starting. But the St. Louis news, that's making me think.
Yeah. That's a little bit. Yeah. Although I will say, man, Binnington hasn't looked terrific. So I don't know. We'll hold on. I'll hold on. Give me St. Louis, whatever. The Islanders. This is how stubborn I am, man. I'd rather lose money that feeds my children or my child. Let's not get carried away. That feed my son than bet on the Islanders. That's just the way it is. All right, moving on. The San Jose Sharks plus 155. The Chicago era. The Chicago era has begun. They are minus 188 favorites at home, even against the San Jose Sharks. That seems wild. Minus 188. It's now minus 184, plus 152 now for the Sharks. The over is 5.5 at minus 134. The under is plus 110. Plus 1.5 for the Sharks, minus 166. Minus 1.5 for the Blackhawks, only plus 138. The respect for the Blackhawks flooding in on all sides. Andre, what do you got, man?
I'm kind of at a crossroads here because I remember distinctly saying the Sharks would not open their season with 10 straight losses again or whatever it was. And here they are at 3. And 2 of them were close. They did pick up points in 2 of them, but it's looking like it's about to be 4. Chicago's been playing pretty well since that opener. They lost 1-2 in Winnipeg. Considering what the Jets are doing, that's a great performance. They beat the Oilers 5-2, and then they lost 3-1 in Calgary. Empty netter made it a multi-goal loss, but there was a tight game start to finish. The Blackhawks have been playing pretty good hockey. Now they get their home opener. Now they get it against a team that they swept last year. The highlight being a 5-2 win in March at home. I like the Blackhawks not only to win. I'm going to take the puck line. I think this Blackhawks team is much more formidable than the Sharks. Offensively, they're definitely more dangerous. And they have, like we've said, they have a solid goaltending duo. And besides that Utah game where they gave up 5, they held the Jets to 2 in the OT. They held the Oilers to 2. They held the Flames to 2. The empty netter, there was nobody, guarding the goal for that. So that doesn't count against them. I like that puck line.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't have too much to add here. I think Chicago's done a really good job defensively, a really good job with the goaltending, especially relative to where they've been the last couple seasons, right? Mrazek is projected to start tonight, and Mackenzie Blackwood, who has his moments, but let's just call it what it is here. To start the year, not the worst for the Sharks, considering what we saw last year. They're allowing only 3 goals per game, so that minus 1.5 gets me a little weird. But I'll take the Blackhawks minus 1.5 too. I don't have too much more to add there. All right, moving on to the last game of the night. The Philadelphia Flyers, I believe, are wrapping up their road trip tonight in Seattle, plus 116. Again, I gotta stop reading my screen. Let's just read it. Oh yeah, this one's the same. Plus 116, while the Seattle Kraken minus 140. Plus 1.5 for the Flyers is minus 220. Minus 1.5 for the Kraken is plus 180. The over is 5.5 at minus 130. The under is plus 106. What do you got, man? Philadelphia Flyers, Seattle Kraken. You're high on this Kraken team this year. What do you see here?
Yeah, I've kind of cooled off. Their start has been kind of shaky, and they blew a lead in their first game. That's never a good sign. Whereas the Flyers, I feel like the Flyers have done exactly what we expected them to, really, in these games. PK shut down Vancouver. They snuck out with a win. PK shut down the Oilers. Couldn't hold on to the multi-goal lead and squeak it out, but they stole a point. Sandwiched between then, they lost to the Red Hot Flames. So the Flyers are playing the brand of Flyers hockey we kind of expected. The Kraken, it's been a tale of two teams. The team that through 6 periods against the Blues and Stars only scored in one of them, the 2 goals against the Blues, net loss. And then the other 2 games, they have a combined 11 goals because the one was a shootout win. But the offense has been unstoppable. And that's without any power play to speak of for the power play goal in their 4 games. They have, if my math is correct, 9 tries. So not really generating much on special teams. It's all 5-on-5. It's feast or famine for them. I don't like that against the Flyers. They're not going to score on the power play at all. That we know that. And if we're just trusting them to click to find it 5-on-5 offensively, I can't really back that. So I'm going to take another underdog here. I'm taking the Flyers money line. I'm going to take the under 6. I think it's going to be a low scoring game, just the way Philly going to come out on top and end this road trip the right way.
I'm right there with you, man. I like Philadelphia here at plus 116. I also really, really like this under. It's plus 106, under 5.5. Ersson and Decord are projected to be starting for their respective teams tonight. Ersson, really good first half of the year last year, just was played too much with the whole Carter Hart situation and everything. He was just worked into the ground. New season for him. And I really, really like him as a goaltender. Small sample size again, 286 goals against average, 895 save percentage, 1-0-1 to start the season. And Decord is a really good goaltender, man. They paid him like it. They extended him 5 years at what was it, like 5.25 or something crazy. He's 2-0-0 to start the year, 337 goals against and a 901 save percentage. Not outstanding numbers, but he's winning. So I do like the under in this game. I can easily see this game being 3-2. This to me has 3-2 written all over it. And I like Philadelphia to get the win. Travis Konechny, 2 goals to start the season. For him to score tonight is plus 190. And Owen Tippett, man, I'm on Owen Tippett watch. This guy eventually is going to start cooking. He is plus 230 to score tonight. So give me Philly, give me the under, and I like those 2 guys to get the job done tonight.
Decord needs to fight for the money. I'm thinking like 12 mil. Next time he's up for an extension. So,
oh yeah. Well, I mean, I was about to say that no goaltender is going to sign for less than 12 million if Shesterkin gets his way, but Shesterkin hasn't got his way yet. And Elliot Friedman, who, if you're in America and you don't know who that is, you got to give him a follow on Twitter. He's one of the top insiders in the game up here in Canada. He just sent out a tweet literally 2 minutes ago, hearing Jake Ottinger and the Dallas Stars are closing in on a long-term extension in the Jeremy Swayman range. So that's interesting. Jake Ottinger, 8.25 for 8 years. I feel like. What's that?
Just kick me while I'm down.
I'm just saying. I think Jake Ottinger, much like the Jeremy Swayman deal, if you get Jake Ottinger for 8.25, that could be a steal. It could be. Shesterkin's long past steal, man. Like, he's one of the best goalies in the world, and he doesn't really have anything left to prove. Where both Jake Ottinger and Jeremy Swayman, good goaltenders, but still have something to prove. So I'm sorry, man. You're out of luck with that one.
I don't know. Shesterkin hasn't won a cup yet. He hasn't scored a goal yet. He has stuff to prove. That's all I'm saying. It'll help the team. That's what I want.
I love this too. All the comments asking Elliot Friedman, "What's your source? Who's your source?" Other people just basically copy and pasting Friedman's tweet and saying, "My source is Friedman." Why are people giving Friedman a bad time, man? This guy's good at his job. Some random guy named Ryan is tweeting it. Elliot, I haven't heard this yet from my sources. He has like 20 followers on Twitter. People, I didn't know this. Why are people giving Elliot a bad time? That's funny. All right, moving on to our best bets, brought to you by our friends at First Round Collectibles. Right now with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, boxing, you want it, they have it. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off dozens of cards. And with our promo code, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. Head over to firstroundcollectibles.com. That's the number one, STRoundcollectibles.com. Use promo code SportsAddict for 10% off your order. Andre, best bet. What do you got, bro? It's been a long show. We've been talking for a long time. Some of these bets you might have to, reach back an hour. But what do you got as your best bet tonight in the NHL?
I don't have to reach back at all. I never took it off the bet slip. Panthers money line. I have it at -108 right now on DK. Bob's supposed to be in net. Their only home game so far was a 6-4 win. They looked pretty good. Their offense, for the most part, has been scoring as you'd expect. That's been the problem with the Canucks, is keeping pucks out of net. They only scored 1 goal in Tampa the other night in their first road game, and they only scored 2 before they left for the road. The game before that, not really looking sharp right now. If you're talking about the Canucks, the defending champs, I think back at home take care of business.
Yeah, out of all these games, like I would say, quick math, like 80% of these games, the odds have been changing like every 5 minutes as I keep looking at this. But that game on FanDuel anyway hasn't changed at all. It's still -110 for both sides. So if you can get it -108 on DK, that's really good value in my opinion. Another one that keeps, what was it at when I typed it in? I wonder. Yeah, the Canadians were +108 underdogs when I typed this in. They are now +116. To me, I know the Kings are better than the way that they've played. However, they got 8-7. They lose in overtime on Monday. 6-2. They lose last night. They've been on the road for a long, long time. They've been on the road the whole season so far. They played Monday in Ottawa. Then they go south on the highway to face Toronto on Wednesday night, and then they go east over to Quebec to play the Canadians tonight. I just don't understand this. I'm taking Montreal +116. My second time in 3-4 nights that I've picked Montreal as a best bet. Didn't work out for me last time, but I think it will work tonight. Montreal +116. I love that bet tonight.
I do too. So, it's locked in.
All right. So, again, I always say this. We should probably talk about this beforehand, but who cares? We're doing it live. Screw it. Family play, bro. What do we like tonight? I'm trying to think of things that we agreed on. We got Philadelphia plus 116, Blackhawks plus 138, minus 1.5, Nashville's plus 105, Columbus plus 128. What do we like for our third best bet of the day?
I feel like we were both. There were a few overs I think we were both pretty confident on, like the Edmonton, Nashville, and Rangers, Red Wings. I think Edmonton, Nashville over. We were both like, yeah, instantly for the over in that one, right?
Yeah,
that's what it felt like.
I'm all about it. On FanDuel, it's minus 110 over 6.5.
I have minus 108, 6.5, so not much of a difference.
Cool.
2 cents.
Love it.
Cool. My parlay, the DraftKings has the parlay at plus 716, Panthers money line minus 108, Canadians money line plus 120, over 6.5 in Nashville minus 108.
It's plus 120 on DK for Montreal.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I've said this on the show before. I know it's all numbers and it's all like analytics and nerds punching stuff in, but I watch all these games, bro, and Montreal is not plus 120 underdogs against the Kings. They're not. I don't see it. But anyway, yeah, for me on FanDuel, plus 116 Canadians, minus 110 Panthers, minus 110 Edmonton, Nashville over. That's plus 687. So if you're shopping books and you have all these books, DK is the one that we like the best for this parlay. All right. I had something else I was going to say, but I don't remember it. So we're done. It's all good. Everybody, thank you so much for watching and hanging in with us all show long. We appreciate you. Shout out to First Round Collectibles, promo code Sports Addict, 10% off your order, firstroundcollectibles.com. And shout out Total Apex Sports, my employers and friends of the show. Wow, my son is going nuts. Head over to totalapexsports.com to check out my article on the Leafs and many articles on many other sports. We appreciate you. See you tomorrow.